Hello, and welcome to our first lesson on the Japanese abacus. I'm excited to guide you through the basics of this amazing tool. I am creating these abacus tutorial videos based on my experience teaching young kids, and you'll find various tips and advice to help you teach the abacus effectively. My goal is to explain everything as clearly as possible so you can become comfortable with the abacus and confidently teach it to your children. So, let's get started. The Japanese abacus, or Soroban, was introduced to Japan from China about 450 years ago and quickly became a must-have tool for merchants. Nowadays, in Japan, the Soroban is taught in both abacus schools and elementary schools. It's also a popular extracurricular activity for kids, helping them boost their math skills and concentration. And if you really get into it, you can even list advanced Soroban qualifications on your resume. Before diving into the parts and basics, let me give you a quick overview of how the abacus functions as a calculator. I'll cover the details later, but for now, take a look at this. Let's see how numbers are represented on the abacus. Right now, this abacus shows 0. All the beads, both upper and lower, are away from the bar. On the abacus, the number is indicated by whether the beads are touching the bar or not. Watch closely. This represents 1. One lower bead in the column with the black dot is now touching the bar. If I move another bead up to the bar, the abacus now represents 2. If you look closely, you'll see that the beads are organized in vertical columns. 1 bead above the bar and 4 beads below it. Each lower bead represents 1, and the single upper bead represents 5. The black dot above the bar is a unit marker, and we usually set this black dot in the middle column as the ones place. The abacus uses a place value system, which means each column represents a different place value. For example, the column with the black dot is the ones place. The column to its left is the tens place, the next one is the hundreds place, and the one after that is the thousands place, and so on. If a lower bead in the ones place is touching the bar, it represents 1. If a lower bead in the tens place is touching the bar, it represents 10, and if a lower bead in the hundreds place is touching the bar, it represents 100. Notice that the thousands place also has a black unit, similar to placing a comma in the number 1000. Thanks to these unit markers, you can quickly and accurately place numbers on the abacus and easily read what numbers they represent. Additionally, the abacus can represent much larger numbers, like 10,000 or 100,000, and can also show decimal fractions to the right of the ones place. To avoid confusing the children at this stage, we won't cover those details right now. As you advance, you'll work with these larger and smaller numbers. For now, a smaller abacus is fine for beginners, but eventually, you'll use one with more digits, like a 23-digit abacus. Next, let's talk about proper posture while using the abacus. When working with the abacus, make sure to sit upright in your chair with your back straight. You should tilt your head slightly downward. It's important to stay focused and maintain this posture to ensure concentration during abacus exercises. Place your workbook directly in front of you and set the abacus on top of it. If you're using just a single sheet of paper, you might want to place a small weight on top to keep it from shifting. Make sure the abacus is aligned straight with the upper beads, the 5 beads, facing up towards you. Keep the abacus close to you, not too far away. Use your left hand to support the left edge of the abacus to keep it steady. You use your right hand to move the beads on the abacus while holding a pencil. This way, you can quickly write down the answers on your worksheet as soon as you get them. Hold the pencil with your middle, ring, and little fingers, leaving your pointer finger and thumb free to move the beads. It's best to use a short pencil. This is because a shorter pencil won't get in the way when you're using the abacus. If the pencil is too long, its end might hit the beads and move them accidentally. Also, a short pencil makes it easier to quickly switch to writing your answers. Ideally, about 1 inch of the pencil should extend beyond your grip at both the tip and the end. Left-handed people also use their right hand to move the beads on the abacus. When writing down answers, you'll use your left hand, so hold the pencil with your left hand while supporting the abacus. Make sure your grip on the pencil doesn't get in the way of your right hand as it moves. Even though you won't use the pencil with your right hand, curl your middle, ring, and little fingers into a fist, and use your thumb and pointer finger to move the beads. Finally, let's go over how to reset the abacus. Resetting means returning the abacus to a state of 0. Just like a calculator, you need to reset the abacus after getting the answer to each problem. If your abacus has a reset button, simply press it each time, and the abacus will automatically return to 0. If your abacus doesn't have a reset button, you can reset it manually with your pointer finger. First, tilt the abacus slightly towards you with both hands so that all the lower beads fall down and the upper beads are touching the bar. In this position, slide your pointer finger between the upper beads and the bar from the left end to the right end. This action will move all the upper beads back up, resetting the abacus to 0. Here are some tips. Don't apply too much force when sliding. Lightly slide the beads smoothly and use your nail to push up the upper beads. I've noticed that some young kids have difficulty finding the right rhythm or figuring out how much force to use. So, let's practice resetting the abacus several times until you get the hang of it. It's also a good idea to do a few resets at the beginning of each lesson. This wraps up Lesson 1. We've covered the basics of the Japanese abacus, and I hope you now have a better understanding of how it works. In the next lesson, we'll explore how numbers are represented on the abacus, which will make addition and subtraction much easier. See you next week. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so to get notified when the new lesson is available. Thank you.